I'm Kelly Wolf. I'm the VP of Client Services at Data Driven Design. So I'm going to present the first half of Alexa for Business, and then Anne is going to actually show you how to put it in practice. So we have a little demo. She's in the real estate industry, and so we'll show you kind of everything that I talk about, how you truly would do that in your organization. All right, so obviously Alexa, Google, all of these devices have infiltrated all of our homes, right? Everybody's using them. Over 75% of people use it to play a song. Over 60% are using it to get the weather or ask for information. So pretty basic stuff at this point. Even kids use it, right? Like my kids constantly use it. If I'm busy and I can't answer their question, they go to Alexa. If they want a song playing, they ask Alexa to play the song that they want. So truly, as Paul mentioned, like kids are growing up with these devices, and as they, get into the workforce someday, they're expecting it. Some people are also using it for third-party skills, right? So they've taken it from just using it for basic information to actually using it for practical things in their life, asking Uber to request a ride, for example. So of all of the survey respondents of the research I was reading, over 50% of them are using third-party skills, at least one or two. And then only 15% of people have never used a third-party skill. So while this area of Alexa is still certainly under development and that discovery is still happening, more and more people are starting to use these third-party skills. So imagine though if you could take everything that you love about using Alexa at home, the practicality of it, it's hands-free, you can multitask, and you brought that to the workforce. I don't know about you guys, but so often I have been running into a meeting, I'm scrambling because I'm late, I'm trying to find the conference room, dial in information, I'm trying to get the deck up on the screen. And imagine if you could literally just say, Alexa, start my meeting. Immediately the conference room number gets dialed in, immediately your deck's showing for the entire group. I mean, how awesome would that be? You actually can. It's called Alexa for Business. Let's go over the basics, and again, we'll get into some use cases to show you how this would work. But what is it? So Alexa for Business is a service. It helps companies just like yours and their employees literally just get more work done. It's all about productivity and efficiency. And the way that I like to think about it is it's an additional resource for your organization. It's a virtual assistant. It's another teammate. It is somebody that you can delegate tasks to that you no longer have to do. And the way that we think about it is really with three buckets. So one is device management. That's a little bit more on like the IT side of things, so we'll get into that, but there's certainly a lot of control that is maintained by issuing out these devices and sort of making sure you still have tabs on how people are using them. The second is what I just described, meeting room management. It seems like such a silly, basic thing, but to have somebody else doing all of that for you, that's just extra time that you no longer have to do it. And then the third is private skills. So Paul also mentioned that, and that's where it gets a little bit more custom, really exciting, very tailored to your organization and how you can increase efficiency. So the first, device management. I mean, obviously IT departments forever have been managing your computers, your cell phones if they're company issued. This would work the exact same way. So literally your IT department can manage all of the company issued devices. If they give you Eve, an Echo device to use, they can control it. They know exactly how you're using it, when you're using it, which is great, right? Like that control and that sort of security has to be maintained. Multiple devices could be managed at once. And again, sort of usage status, if it's unplugged, if it's lost, whatever, like all of that can be managed through a centralized console. Second is meeting room management. Reserving rooms, extending rooms. Say your meeting's running long and somebody else is about to, come in. You can reserve or extend the meeting room. You can start a conference call. There's no more like scrambling to find the remote control, trying to get the projector down, finding the dial-in number. You leave all of that to somebody else. And again, the whole intention is that you are then spending that time that you normally would be spending on meeting room management on other things that are more productive. They're going to grow your business, lead to more revenue, etc. So down at the bottom here, you can see just a couple of examples. I mean, these are things you would actually say to the device, right? Alexa, find me an open room. And imagine you're doing this while you're writing an email or, kind of multitasking as you're doing it. Alexa, start the meeting. Alexa, notify IT, the projector's broken and we need a new one. Alexa, cancel my 4 p.m., I can no longer make it. All of that would be done for you through just a tiny little device that's programmed. The third thing is private skills. So again, this is really meant to be custom things that would integrate into software applications that your company is already using. So if you use Salesforce, a custom skill could be built so that it's integrating into your particular Salesforce data. And these are really skills that can be added to conference rooms so that kind of your entire organization is connected, or you can allow employees to access them directly, even at home. So personal devices can also be utilizing Alexa for Business. So some examples on this. Let's say that you track daily sales numbers and you want those read to you every morning. Alexa, read our sales numbers from yesterday. And she literally would spit out information for your company to you. Alexa, enter 8 hours on my timesheet for yesterday. Again, just one less thing that I can ask her to do while I'm doing other stuff. Alexa, add run in a plugin audit to my to-do list. And maybe that's integrated into Basecamp that you use. Like, it can certainly be working with other systems. Alexa, how many PTO days do I have left? That's tied to the company intranet, and it can literally in 2 seconds tell you that you have 6 days remaining for the year. So the list for this is really endless and very much relevant to to your own organizations. But anything that you can kind of dream up is possible through private skills. And again, Anne is going to go into an application for real estate that we think could be really interesting. So how does it work? You can see down at the bottom, again, this is just sort of an example, but it's not super fancy, it's pretty simple, which is really the nice thing. So a request comes in, somebody asks Alexa to do something. In my example, Alexa, start the meeting. And Alexa is then using all of that data that's been programmed into the Alexa for Business account. It knows where the device is located. It knows the calendar that it's tied to and associated with. It knows the type of conferencing equipment that you have so that it's able to pull up the deck, dial in on a Polycom or whatever it is. And then she literally starts the meeting. So from the time the request gets in and the process it goes through and the action, it's seconds. So it's just, it's amazing to me how efficient it can really make your business. So let me get into a couple of use cases. So again, Paul mentioned this one. I think the HR intranet thing is so fascinating because you think about all of the information that you're able to pull up on your computer when you go to your intranet. Maybe there's training classes that your company offers that you want to sign up for. Maybe there's, like I mentioned, PTO days that you want to understand how many you have left. Maybe there's a timesheet you have to fill out on a daily basis that's such a drag that you wish you could just talk to. Maybe there's benefit information or 401k information that you need to access or know who to call. All of that can be certainly accessed still through your website, but also through voice. Again, as you're just doing other stuff and you happen to think about it, you could quickly ask Alexa, to pull that information for you. I think this one's interesting too. Like, a lot of people are heavily relying more and more on data. And the example that comes to mind for me is my brother. He's in sales and he lives and dies by the numbers. Like, I think before he rolls out of bed every morning, he's probably staring at his phone to understand his sales numbers from the day before and how the rest of the organization is doing, how his territory is doing. So imagine, like, you're getting your coffee and you're getting ready in the morning or whatever, and you can ask Alexa for that information and just listen to it while you're doing other stuff. Or maybe you're in the car, like whatever it is, versus having to be reliant on your phone and staring at a tiny little Excel spreadsheet that's come in. And finally, just the third example is, small business. Like, what if your inventory management was integrated with whatever inventory system that you're using on your computer? And as you're walking around your beautiful little boutique that you own, you can literally ask Alexa to be adding things to that system. Or, you're asking her for information because you need to do some ordering. I think that small business-wise, the opportunities are really endless. But the fact that it can integrate with other systems that you're using is super cool, and you could obviously just be increasing your efficiency. And as a small business owner, maybe you need that additional resource. Maybe you don't want to hire somebody and pay benefits to that person or hear their complaints or whatever. Like, it's just sort of the best sort of resource you could possibly have. So in terms of getting started, I'm not going to go deep on this. We have lots of information that if you are interested, we can certainly send you. Paul has done some daily tips on this already, but this is more meant to illustrate it's very simple. It's not this huge, complicated, long, cumbersome process. You literally need an Amazon Web Services account, which is free to set up. And then you can access Alexa for Business right within that account. So there's an entire section that you would go to. There's an Amazon resource number, which is critical for your organization. So if you were to do this, that would be kind of the key information you need to find. And that would be helpful to do for device management and meeting room management. Where it gets slightly more complicated is the private skills. So obviously that is going to be a little bit more complex based on if you are trying to integrate with other systems, or if you're trying to build in something that's pulling information from multiple sources or whatever. So that's where you would need an Amazon developer account if you wanted to go ahead and deploy and manage those private skills. And I won't give you a sales pitch, but this is obviously certainly something that we could help you with if you are interested. If you want to try it on your own, happy to kind of send you those resources or whatever you might need. So before I turn it over to Ann to actually do a demo and talk a little bit more about how this could work on the real estate side, what I want you to take away today is, number one, it just increases your productivity and your efficiency for your organization. Number two, you still get all of that control, all of that security, all of the visibility into how people are using those company issued devices or their personal devices that they're accessing company information on. All of that is maintained. And then there's numerous applications for how the skill can be used in terms of the private skills. So useful information, relevant information for your employees, all of that can be kind of custom and tailored for your organization. And then it's really easy and fast. I mean, it's literally like a very quick process to set it up and start using. So don't be intimidated by it, try it, or reach out if you've got questions or want more information. So Ann, I'm going to turn it over to you to help us learn a little bit more about, kind of a practical use case of how this could be used in the industry that Ann works in.
All right, how are you guys doing today? Are you guys excited to be here? I'm super excited to be here. So I've actually been working with Paul for a little bit. Can everybody hear me? All right, cool. If you can't hear me, just let me know and I will speak louder. I've had a lot of coffee today, so we're gonna have a lot of fun today. Okay, I am absolutely in love with data-driven design. So we've actually been implementing a lot of different types of Alexa skills within my personal business. I own a private equity investment firm out of Phoenix. We primarily invest in real estate, so I work with a lot of realtors, a lot of vendors, handymen, plumbers, so all kinds of different things that we need someone to sit in our office and actually make those calls, right? So this is actually something that that kind of came out of working with a lot of realtors. So is anybody here a realtor? No, okay. Is anybody here ever owns their own home and you've worked with realtors? All right, so tell me if this is accurate in your perspective. The one thing that I have, like my biggest issue that I have with realtors is communication. Anybody? All right. So this is something that I'm kind of in the process of developing specifically for realtors to help them with their communication. Communication is extremely important, especially if you have employees. We all need to be able to communicate with each other. So this is something that I've kind of developed for them. So let's kind of get started and we'll kind of work on it. Alexa, open Nashville new listings. Alexa, open new listings Nashville. Can you guys can't hear that in the back, can you? All right, we're gonna try and move this over a little. So I'm so sorry. All right. Alexa, open new listings Nashville. Alexa, open new listings Nashville. You guys can't hear that, can you? Is there any way to Okay. So basically what I did was I asked her to open up new listings Nashville. And then it's going to ask you, are you a realtor or are you a client? So this is actually a private app that you can create for your specific real estate business. And if you're the realtor, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask her, I'm going to tell her that I'm a realtor, and she's going to say, oh, do you want to know if there's new listings? Or do you want to know if there are listings specific to a client that you already have a profile for? And you're going to say, well, I want to know if there's, I would love to know if there's new listings, but that's not necessarily relevant, right? Unless I've got a client that are looking for those properties. So I only want to know what is currently available for my clients that's specific to what we already have built for their avatar. Okay, Alexa, open new listings Nashville. Alexa, open new listings Nashville. Okay, it's not working right now, but that's okay. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to say, oh, you have 2 new listings available for Mr. Jones. And it's going to describe the properties and say, this property was built in 1954. It's a 3-bed, 2.5 bath, $350,000. This is the address. Would you like me to send this to Mr. Jones? And you're going to say, yes. And then what it's going to do is it's automatically going to send a text message. Right? So how many of you guys get spammed all day in your email box, right? I've got like 32,000 emails in one of my, and it's literally just my spam email. So whenever you go onto a new website and they're like, oh, you have to sign up, that's the email that I use. I've got like 32,000 emails. I don't look at them, right? So there's a lot of individuals in the world right now that are not using email, right? We are all about, especially in the millennials, they're all about instant gratification, right? They're all about instant information. So what we want to do is provide them the most instant information available. And especially in like the Phoenix market right now, we are, we're supposed to have about 3 months worth of inventory. We're at about 3 weeks right now. So if you are a realtor in the Phoenix market, you know that being the first one to identify the property for your client is going to be able to bring you the most amount of income and the most amount of revenue into your business. And so we need to be able to keep on our toes with making sure that we're giving our clients the most information possible. So this is an app that I've created for them specifically. On the client side, what you can do is when it asks you, are you a realtor or a client, you can say, oh, I'm a client. So when you're up in the morning, you can also attach this to your morning briefing. And so if you are, again, who is looking for homes, who's ever bought a home? And when you're actively looking for a home, how often are you wondering if the home is available? Every single day you're like, oh man, I wonder if my realtor's found something, right? So in the morning you can say, hey Alexa, did my realtor find a new property for me? And then from the realtor's perspective, it's gonna literally say, oh yeah, Anne actually found you 2 properties that are available right now. And it'll describe them and it'll say, would you like to set up a showing? And you're gonna say yes. And it's automatically gonna send me, the realtor, a text message that says, what's your name? Cindy. Cindy wants a showing of this property that you just sent her. You think that I'm a great realtor, right? Because I am literally putting all of this stuff into Alexa for your convenience. But this is actually just something that I've automated within my business so that, number one, I can be a better realtor for you, right? So this is just one example for what we've been able to do within the real estate space. So in my particular business, so we actually invest primarily in real estate, right, within my private equity firm. So I actually am developing an app for my investors so that they can go on and say, hey, did my distribution come out this month or this quarter? And it'll say, yes, your distribution was sent out on July 15th, right? On the property management side, one of the biggest things that is the biggest problem is when renters don't pay. Does anybody have an investment property? Yeah? Okay, you know when your renters don't pay, they're not gonna call you and say, I'm so sorry, I didn't pay you this month yet. You're gonna have to be the one going after them, right? And this is just a reality. When you have an open invoice in your business, they're not gonna call you and say, hey, by the way, I didn't pay your invoice yet, right? So we're gonna need to be the ones that are actually contacting them and saying, hey, did you wanna set up a payment plan? Is there something else that you would like to do to get this all worked out? So these are just a couple of different things. So what we've done in my business is on the property management side, this is a way that we're able to automate one of my employees, where every single month she has to send out pay or quit notices, which is like late rent payment notices. So every single month on the 5th, when she walks into the office at 9 o'clock, at 9:30, Alexa asks her, hey, did you send out the pay or quit notices yet? And she's gonna say no. And then it's gonna say, did you wanna send those out today? And she's gonna say yes. And then instantaneously, all of our emails go out and all of our paperwork goes out because they have to be mailed and they have to be emailed, right? So within 5 seconds, I've taken away 2 hours worth of work for her. I was sending out all of those letters, stuffing envelopes, putting stamps on, going down to the bank because we have it all automated within our system. So it actually is linked directly to our property management software. And so this is just another way that you can utilize APIs, that's the integration, between the actual system that you're already using and an Alexa app, and then creating this automation. And we all know that in our business, how many are in businesses? Okay, we all know that the most expensive thing is your human capital, right? Your payroll. So every single day, week, or month, that's always something that you can control. And so if we can help to control that cost, your profitability is going to skyrocket. So utilizing automation is probably the best way that we're going to be able to do that. So that's what we've been able to accomplish within our business. So does anybody have any questions? Yes.
I might not be able to hear everything.
Oh yeah, no, you're good.
I asked a question to you.
No, you're fine.
I apologize. Fetching the MLS data.
Yes.
Has that been a barrier, or is that fluid? fluid?
So every MLS is going to be a little bit different across state lines and across different metro areas. So any specific realtor that would like to use a software like this, you would need to just link it directly to your specific area or an area that you're in. I'm sorry?
Where in the MLS website database are you going to link that?
That's more of a back-end coding side, and I wouldn't necessarily know the answer to, and that's why DDD is helping us out with that. Yeah, that would be yeah. So that's
usually you would like set up a database, maybe that pulls the data over from the MLS into like your own database and tracks some of that stuff.
Absolutely.
That would allow Alexa to connect to it with its own API.
I was just curious how fluid that website or that process would be.
So it's dependent on your, like you have a user access. If you're a realtor, you've got user access to get into the MLS. So you use that same user access, and it would create an API. So I don't know if everybody heard the question. He wanted to know how fluid it was to use the data from the MLS to be able to integrate into Alexa.
So they do have an API. They have an API set up. Just in case.
Yeah, that's something that would be more of a developer question. So yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. And yes.
What's the learning curve on, kind of making your application accessible to your Alexa voice? Is it a learning curve, or is it difficult to do?
Not necessarily. Do you have an Alexa at home?
No.
Oh, okay. So it's pretty easy. You just say, "Hey Alexa, can you play?" It's just as simple as, "Hey Alexa, can you play my music on Spotify?"
Okay.
And then she'll just play the music. Or you can
Connect those applications to your Alexa.
honestly, all you do is you go to the app. I can actually show you after, but all you do is you go. Yeah, so you go onto Amazon, and it'll say, "Would you like to enable this on your Alexa app?" And you just click the button, and all of a sudden you can use it. It's fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. So my team loves it. So, any other questions?
So when
Yes.
you were talking about sending out emails and
Yeah.
so is that an API integration as well? How does that work? Like
Yes.
is it to your email server? Is it to Basecamp? Maybe
Yeah, so mine is actually, so we use a property management software called Buildium. And Buildium actually has its own emails and its own mailings that it can do. But we would actually physically have to go into the system, select everybody that we wanted to send emails to and send out letters to, and then go through this whole process. But what I wanted to do was create an automation. So we just utilized an API to integrate that system with Alexa. So when I ask Alexa to do that, it basically, to an extent, Alexa will log into Buildium for me, because this is all a private app. This is not something that somebody from a public perspective can just go on and use. So what it will do is it will actually go in and it will send all the emails. It'll check all the boxes, send all the emails, and it'll check all the other boxes, and then send all the mailings out. Does that make sense? So it's all within the system that we have. But yes, you can integrate with your emails as well. So yep, we're in the process of figuring out how we can pull data, because we have a lot of employees who go out and do door knocking and mailers and things. And so when they get data, they put it into a Google Sheet, and then we're actually trying to utilize Alexa so that it will create a whole document for us. So just a lot of yes.
Just a yes and,
Yeah.
You can use, I think, some of the LEDs on the dots. So if you have a client that has a new property, you can choose notification LED.
Yeah.
Where they can say, oh, I've got notification from my realtor about a new property.
Exactly.
So then they stay engaged with you. We use that in healthcare quite a bit.
Yeah.
So we need people that are more interested than just like, oh, I manage my diabetes today, because it's boring.
Yeah.
But if you get a notification, hey, something's up, something's happening.
Yeah.
That sounds great. I love your idea.
No, it's great. And here's the other thing is that again, emails are going by the wayside. No, I don't check my emails. I have realtors. I've got like 16 different realtors that all send me. They're like, oh, I'll just set you up on the MLS thing. Nobody looks at those stupid emails. I mean, I am being recorded, but I'm just saying, it's just another email that's gonna just collect dust in my inbox. But if you send me a text message, how often do millennials look at their phones? All day, right? How many of you are have noticed that when they're at their keyboard, the phone is right in front of them as they're typing? They're literally on those things all day long. So if you can be the first one to say, hey, let's go ahead and we can get you into that house today or this weekend, and you're the first person to get them in, your productivity is going to go up so much more. Your ratings also. So a lot of people go on and they check the ratings of, you know, how engaged were you with your clients, right? Are you a 5-star? Are you a 4.5? I mean, most people, like when I go on and I'm looking for a new restaurant, I only do something if it's going to be like a 4.5, right? A 4.5 or above. If it's under 4.5, I'm probably not going to look at it, right? So we want to make sure that we're keeping that engagement up with our clients. So that's really what my job is about. So cool.
So you guys are going to grab food?